Losing weight can feel like a roller coaster, full of ups, downs, and being thrown for loops, like when someone brings donuts into the office, or your kids' dino nuggets start giving you that look again. That's why there's Noom. They combine GLP-1s to quiet the food noise with healthy habits that help you keep it quiet, even if you get off the meds. Their program is designed to make weight loss a smooth ride, helping you understand what drives you, so you can build better habits to not just lose weight, but keep it off. Noom. Lose for keeps. Get started at Noom.com. Not all customers will clinically qualify for medications. Individual results may vary.
Back Market is the best place to get the tech you need for back to school for less. Like professionally refurbished smartphones to take those first day pics.
Mom, your finger's blocking the camera.
Or so they can ask you to buy a poster board for the science fair tomorrow. No matter what you need it for, the premium refurbished tech on Back Market is guaranteed by the Back Market Promise. Professionally refurbished with a 1-year warranty and free 30-day returns. Save now at backmarket.com.
At Boar's Head, we've been going back to school for over 115 years. And this year, every school lunch is reason to celebrate with the flavors your kids love and the exceptional quality you expect. Helping you make school lunch fresh, easy, and delicious. Ring the bell. The deli is open. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
Back Market is the best place to get the tech you need for back to school for less. Like professionally refurbished smartphones to take those first day pics.
Mom, your finger's blocking the camera.
Or so they can ask you to buy a poster board for the science fair tomorrow. No matter what you need it for, the premium refurbished tech on Back Market is guaranteed by the Back Market Promise. Professionally refurbished with a 1-year warranty and free 30-day returns. Save now at backmarket.com.
Losing weight can feel like a roller coaster, full of ups, downs, and being thrown for loops, like when someone brings donuts into the office, or your kids' dino nuggets start giving you that look again. That's why there's Noom. They combine GLP-1s to quiet the food noise with healthy habits that help you keep it quiet, even if you get off the meds. Their program is designed to make weight loss a smooth ride, helping you understand what drives you, so you can build better habits to not just lose weight, but keep it off. Noom. Lose for keeps. Get started at Noom.com. Not all customers will clinically qualify for medications. Individual results may vary.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods, Day 9 of 14 Days of Summer Fear. I've got 3 stories to share today. Not necessarily all of them paranormal, but they are freaky and about camping. I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the first story? A memory from my Year 3 school camp came back to me, and now I can't stop thinking about how weird it was. I live in a regional city in Australia. It's relatively big, but once you leave the centre of the city, it's pretty much all bushland and trees. When I was in Year 3, 7 to 8 years old, my school took all the year on a school camp to a campground 45 minutes out of town. It was a one-night trip, and we were all super excited. After a long day of archery, basketball, tennis, and all the other things you do on camps, we had dinner and went to bed. I distinctly remember laughing and messing around with all my friends before we all fell asleep around 11 p.m. Now, the next part I had forgotten for years, until only recently it came back up in my mind. And now it's the clearest part of my memory. I used to be terrified of the dark, and used to wake up multiple times a night. This certain instance, I was woke up in my cabin at around 2 a.m. I remember this as I had a watch that was very special to me, and for some reason, looking at it and checking the time comforted me in the dark. When I woke up, I felt like something was off. Not wrong, but off. I looked around my cabin and saw nothing of interest. And then I was struck with such an intense feeling to just look out the window. It was right next to my bed. Our room was on the second level of this cabin complex, so when you looked out the window, you had to look down to see the ground directly below you. When looking out the window, I saw nothing. And just when I started to look away, something caught my eye. I could have sworn I saw something right below the window, almost out of sight if you were simply looking forward. I looked down, and I saw someone. Not the average person, more like a tweaker. He was tall, maybe 6'3", 6'4", and his skin looked like it had fallen on hard cement. He was covered in scrapes and grazes, and his hair had been all buzzed off. He looked around 40. I think may have been mid-20s, based on his super skinny build. He wore a dirty black hoodie and black jeans that looked like motorbike pants. He also wore what looked like a mix between a fedora and a cowboy hat. The image I have attached is almost exactly the same if it looked more like a human. When I looked down, his eyes caught mine instantly. He was staring into the window. He didn't move his head there when he saw me. No, he'd been actively staring into that window before I was even there. He stared with such wide eyes, like he was straining all the muscles in his face to pop his eyes out as much as possible. The second we locked eyes, I ducked back down and hid under the covers. I wanted to scream and yell and tell my friends, but I was so scared that I couldn't even move. I waited under those covers for what felt like hours, until I felt like I was safe. I slowly peeked out from the covers again and checked the window. He was still there. He'd moved a bit to the right, but he was still there, staring intently at my window. I didn't even get to become fully level with the window before I ducked out of sight again and went back under the covers, whimpering. I'm not sure how, but I managed to fall asleep. When I woke up, it was light out, and all of my friends were happily awaking after their sleep. I woke up and checked the window again, praying he was gone, and luckily he was. I told my friends about it that morning, and they all laughed at me for having a nightmare, and I think I believed it. I forgot about it for 10 years, but when it came back to me the other week, I realised that it couldn't have been a dream. Everything was so real. I have very weird dreams, never having one that actually made sense. My dreams always flow so weirdly, so the absolute consistency is almost proof to me that this actually happened. Also, I specifically remember laying under my covers for ages, something I doubt would happen in a dream. I have no idea who was outside my window or what he was doing. I just hope that he isn't continuing with what he was doing, because that look in his eyes told me that whatever he was doing there, he wasn't messing around. I don't know what I saw, but I just wish I had an answer. Freaky things always happen at school camp. You've got to prepare yourself. If you're going to school camp, something freaky is going to happen. Mine was, we had this infamous story, Hetty, And I was so looking forward to being told it, but because I get the giggles when I'm nervous, or more so when I was a kid, I got sent out to the tent all on my own. And the cows were mooing and they frightened the life out of me. So that was my scary experience. But a man, that's just no. A man staring through the window, I can't deal with it. Are you ready for the second story? A camping horror story. So this one might be a bit long, but I need to go into it slowly, so bear with me. Me and my boyfriend love to camp. About 2 weeks ago, we decided to go to the coast because we had Friday off from our classes in university and decided to hike and camp out for the weekend. We had a 3-day plan to stay in 3 different towns and hike to each place. This story is about the first place we stayed in. The first town was barely a town. It was more like a bunch of small houses and farmlands and very few people. It was off-season, so normally there would be some tourists there, since the main attraction is a huge abandoned city left over from the times of the ancient Greek civilization. Anyway, since there were 5 to 6 camping grounds available, one of which was highly recommended on TripAdvisor and the likes of, we didn't bother calling beforehand. We simply headed there, and then straight to that camping area. Upon reaching it, we saw the gate open. Not really so unusual, but when we entered it, no one seemed to be there. We knocked and called out for someone, and no one responded, except the outdoor bar was all open with expensive bottles of alcohol lined up, and food left on the kitchen table, as we saw from the window, so they couldn't have gone far. My boyfriend found it a bit strange that they would leave everything open like that, but assumed it was a small community with no crime. We didn't think more. We went to some other camping grounds to ask if they are open. The first one we went to said they were closed because their grounds were very messy these days, but they recommended us another place. We asked them about the first ground we'd went to, and strangely, the man said, "Don't go there." When we asked why, he said, "Just don't. I don't really recommend you going there." Anyway, the other place he told us about was also closed, and luckily in the meantime, I found a signboard for the first place, and it had their number on it. We called them, and a man picked up and told us that he and his wife, who run the place, are out for a couple of hours, but will be back by the evening. He said we could set up our camp, and we would meet there later. The place was a bit secluded, but it was quite picturesque, and we set our camp and left. We spent the whole day exploring and hiking around, and after a tiring day around 10 p.m, after dinner, started heading back. This is where things got extra creepy. When we got back, we found the place still empty. No one had returned and it was quite late. My boyfriend called up the owners again, and they said they had decided not to return tonight, but that we could leave the money under a table mat by the bar. They said the kitchen and bathrooms are open if we need to use them. The place was dark, and the yard where we had set up camp was huge and without lighting. My boyfriend immediately started to feel a bit uneasy. He was concerned why 2 business owners would leave their property completely open to 2 total strangers with a bar full of unopened bottles and a half-open house. As we walked towards our camp, he kept subtly expressing his uneasiness and kept looking around. He's usually pretty calm, so I told him if he's really feeling so strongly about this, we can just go to the pension where we had dinner earlier. and stay the night there in a hotel room. He opened the flashlight of his phone and kept looking around, getting more and more uneasy. We agreed to pack up our camp and leave. I began to back it up, since it requires a lot of folding, and he was already anxious. I told him to just stand and give me light as I pack up. Except constantly, he would move the light and check the area, and I kept getting irritated, because I could sense his worry, and at the same time, I couldn't pack fast enough because I couldn't see. At one point, he even told me in a slightly bitchy way to hurry it up. And as soon as I folded the camp, we stuffed it into his bag and hurriedly packed our stuff and scooted. He still seemed super anxious, and I told him to relax. Just telling this part gives me the chills all over again. The road back to the main area of town was dark and lonely, and this is when he told me. There's something I wanted to say, but not while we were still on the grounds. Well, what is it? I asked. He hesitated, then said he didn't want to freak me out. But he was sure that he saw someone lurking in the dark beyond the wooden cabins and by the bathrooms, twice. No one was supposed to be there except us. I got the chills, but I still tried to rationalise, saying it's a farm area, there's lots of animals. Maybe a cat moving around. But he was adamant it was a human figure, walking like a human would and standing. That is why he kept checking and wanting to hurry so much. And that's why he was telling me to hush up and keep my voice down. I almost had tears in my eyes at this point, and the hair on my neck was standing up. I kept looking back, and almost running at this point to the lighted area of the quiet town, and only really relaxed when we reached the pension and booked a room there, got the key, locked it, and checked it twice. I'm generally a skeptical person. I really do believe my boyfriend didn't just see things. I don't know who that was back there or what could have happened, if anything, and I don't care to know. Dark and isolated places have always creeped me out anyway. There was definitely going to be a murder happening there, wasn't there? I was so glad. What was going on? The place was empty. Were they even the owners that they were speaking to? Why did the other campsite owners warn them off of staying there? So many questions, but they did the right thing in the end. Are you ready for the third and final story? The Thing at the Edge of the Woods. The next account comes from someone who says the encounter happened in southern Maryland in the summer of 1992, when he was around 15 or 16 years old and travelling home with his family after dinner near Chesapeake Beach. It was early evening, around 5 o'clock, and he was sitting in the back of the car beside his brother, looking out the window as they drove along a familiar route. There was nothing unusual about the journey at first, just an ordinary drive on an ordinary summer evening, the kind of moment that should have disappeared from memory almost as soon as it happened. As they joined the main road, the car picked up a little speed, but just ahead there was a small bridge with a rough surface, forcing them to slow down again. The car dropped to around 20 miles an hour, and as he looked ahead along the right-hand side of the road, he noticed something standing where the woods began. At first, his mind tried to make sense of it in ordinary terms. It was a shape near the tree line, and shapes near trees can become almost anything for a second or two. A person, a stump, an animal, a shadow, a branch caught in strange light. But the longer he looked, the less it fitted any of those explanations. The figure was upright, positioned exactly at the edge of the woods, with both arms spread out and each hand resting against a tree at about shoulder height. It was not crouched, not moving across the road. and not behaving like an animal startled by traffic. It seemed to be standing there deliberately, almost as if it had placed itself between the trees to watch whatever passed. He estimated it at around 7 feet tall, perhaps even taller, with a body that looked disturbingly powerful. Its shoulders were broad, its arms muscular, and its chest thick and heavy, before narrowing down through the torso. The body was covered in a dark brown hair of medium length, enough to make it clear that this was not a man in ordinary clothing, but not so shaggy that it became easy to dismiss as a bear. What held his attention most, though, was the face. He described it as wolf-like, but much larger and harsher than any normal wolf. It was not, in his view, like the Bigfoot-style creatures people often describe in woodland encounters. This was something different, something with pointed features and a distinctly canine shape to the head. Closer to the idea of a wolfman than a wild animal or an ape-like figure. For a few seconds, he simply stared at it, trying to understand what he was looking at, and then the creature looked directly back at him. That was the moment the encounter became something more than a strange shape by the trees. He felt that it knew he had seen it, and as the car continued moving, its eyes followed him. It did not panic, run into the woods, or turn away from the road. It stayed where it was, holding his gaze, as the family car passed, giving him enough to register the size, the posture, the dark hair, and the wolf-like head. The awful wrongness of the whole thing. The sighting probably lasted only 10 or 15 seconds, but in a moving car that is a surprisingly long time. Long enough for the mind to stop guessing and start reacting. Long enough for the ordinary world to fall away and leave only the question of what was standing there. He asked his family if they had seen it, but no one else had been looking in the right direction. From their point of view, there had been nothing on the roadside, only him suddenly insisting that something huge and impossible had been standing at the edge of the woods. When he kept asking, they grew confused and then annoyed, because they had not shared the experience and could not understand why he could not let it go. He knew the area well enough to know that there was not supposed to be large animals like that in southern Maryland. And even if there had been, this thing had not looked or behaved like a bear. Over the years he did tell people, but the reaction was rarely kind. Most dismissed it, laughed it off, or treated it as something he must have exaggerated. Until eventually he stopped sharing the story unless he felt someone might actually listen. Yet the encounter did not fade in his mind, and he says it changed the way he responded to other people's unexplained experiences. Sometimes it is enough to pass a dark edge of woodland, look out at exactly the wrong second, and realise that something standing between the trees has already seen you too.
Losing weight can feel like a roller coaster, full of ups, downs, and being thrown for loops, like when someone brings donuts into the office, or your kids' dino nuggets start giving you that look again. That's why there's Noom. They combine GLP-1s to quiet the food noise with healthy habits that help you keep it quiet, even if you get off the meds. Their program is designed to make weight loss a smooth ride, helping you understand what drives you, so you can build better habits to not just lose weight, but keep it off. Noom. Lose for keeps. Get started at Noom.com. Not all customers will clinically qualify for medications. Individual results may vary.
At Boar's Head, we've been going back to school for over 115 years. And this year, every school lunch is reason to celebrate with the flavors your kids love and the exceptional quality you expect. Helping you make school lunch fresh, easy, and delicious. Ring the bell. The deli is open. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
Werewolf. Definitely werewolf. I had to find and include a werewolf story, as it is Summer of Fear and we've got to have at least one. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
At Boar's Head, we've been going back to school for over 115 years. And this year, every school lunch is reason to celebrate with the flavors your kids love and the exceptional quality you expect. Helping you make school lunch fresh, easy, and delicious. Ring the bell. The deli is open. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
You've never been one to settle. Stand down or stand still. You're a lifelong learner, energized by excellence. There's a fire inside you you can't ignore. You've got competition to outrun, momentum to build on, and your own high standards to meet. Stop now? Not a chance. At Capella University, we help you catch what you're chasing, because you've always had the drive. Now, go earn the degree. Capella University, what can't you do? Visit capella.edu to learn more.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.